What's up? This is episode number 4 of WaWa's Boot Camp. Oh yeah, PUBCast. Now, you guys can tell. Thanks for tuning in. We got 4 bobbleheads here today, tonight, wherever you're watching. I mean, we got some phenomenal news here today. A quick intro, all the way in the corner over there. EU resident Crimson analyst. How's it going, Crimson?
Hey man, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good. And if you had forgotten about this man because he's Hollywood, Horosaurus.
What's up, Dave? How's it going?
All right. Thanks. And then the new guy on the desk. You guys know him by now. Liquid Scoom.
What up?
All right, there's the intro.
I need to raise my hype levels, man.
There's the intro.
Yeah, well,
now,
hype, man, exciting stuff.
Hype. Yeah, get hyped, dude. Get hyped. It's all about the wheatgrass. Now, today, we just heard some phenomenal news, groundbreaking news. Some people might have already known about it, but for the general public, I believe today was the day. The PGI, Pubg Global Invitational. I'm just going to say that. I'm throwing it out there. I'm giving you guys the bone. Open discussion.
Give me the bone, Dave.
Fight over the bone.
$2 million. $2 million. That's not a small amount of money at all. I wasn't really going anywhere with that. I was just kind of throwing it out there.
Okay.
I mean, it's like it's the biggest amount, I think, for an event to start off with, like the first major run by a company, just off the bat, just starting out. Am I right in saying that? Maybe the Dota Invitationals, possibly.
Yeah, Dota pays like a ridiculous amount of money for their tournaments.
Now, but I don't think originally they did. So I think this is the first, for a company to come out and say this is a major boom, $2 million. That's huge.
I mean, nowadays, but if you look at like Dota, like 5-6 years ago, the esports money has been, increasing, right? So it's kind of like inflated because of the year it is as well.
All right. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. We're talking about the Pubg Corp. All right. They officially, someone else announced, but then they confirmed that they're having a LAN tournament. All right. The very first of its kind, straight from the source themselves. And they're going to have 20 teams from across the world competing for a $2 million prize pool. All right. The first place winner, I don't think they're going to get the whole $2 mil. But it's July 25th through the 29th in Berlin. Those are the basic details. And there's going to be some type of qualifying system. Did I miss anything else, guys? Anything else? Just the general gist?
Yeah. TPP, FPP.
Yeah. TTP, FPP. So, all right, let's just go straight into that. Scoom, let me go to you, man. I know you're very vocal in the community with this TTP, FPP. What comes to mind? What comes to mind when you hear this?
First, I mean, I wish it was unified already, like a specific perspective, right? I mean, we know that the Western scene is now full FPP. We used to play TPP, but now for the past, I would say, 8 months, we've been FPP full-time, like on all tournaments and stuff. And the Asia scene is TPP, but they are doing now a bit of mixture. They have like a balance, like 50-50, sometimes FPP, sometimes TPP. So like, off the bat, I'm like, I don't like third person. I've been really vocal about it in the past. I'm one of the leading vocals in the past when it got changed. But I mean, it's not the biggest issue. I mean, I think if you want to bring in Asia, you need to slowly transition them into FPP. So that is not the biggest issue, in my opinion, from seeing this news.
All right, Poro?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously you want to see unification, and the fact that the entire Western scene has been playing FPP for a while now, and that we've been pretty vocal about it being kind of like that's kind of the route that we want to go down, and then Pubg Core just coming out and saying, well, we're going to do both. I like Scoom said, I respect why they want to do it, but I do also kind of want to see things start to settle down, and maybe this might be the first time that we actually get Pubg Core coming out and saying like these are what we think the preferred competitive settings should be, which is what we've been asking for. Yeah. But it kind of flies in the face of all the work that that tournament organizers and players and everybody have been doing to try to work together to make those best, what they consider to be the best possible competitive settings for the game.
All right, and then Crimson, your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to watch side by side TPP and FPP with this, presumably the same teams. We're assuming the same teams are going to be playing both all 4 days. But it's going to be really interesting because you'll be able to actually compare it and say, look, these TPP games were worse or they weren't worse or whatever the case may be. But, these are the same teams playing the same, the same settings, presumably. Again, the only difference being the view. That's a perfect comparison to decide which of these is better for esports. So if nothing else, that's going to be a nice little...
all right, so to clear it up for myself at least, so let's make an example. Liquid, say that they're going to the actual event. From what we know, I mean, this is fresh out the gates, all the information we have today, very limited so far. But from what we know, does that mean, for example, Liquid has to play third person and first person in the same event? Or how is that going to work out? I'm not quite catching on.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, we only got those newsletter. We don't really know the details as much. But what I've seen, my impression is, I think they're going to have 2 events. One for $1 million and the other one for another, and for one FPP and the other TPP. I think with the same 20 teams. That's my first impression. So it's going to be one tournament for FPP and one tournament for TPP with the same teams.
Okay.
I will say that after talking to some of the guys from Optic and FaZe after they kind of went on their Korean trip over to OGN and played in the PSS finals from earlier this year, they were talking about. They said it wasn't as big of a deal as they thought it would be. Playing TPP. I mean, obviously they prefer playing FPP, but when they actually got in the game and were playing it, the transition wasn't as great going from FPP to TPP as it was going from TPP to FPP. Essentially, like going backwards isn't as hard as going forward.
I can see that.
TPP is easier.
I mean, we've been seeing TPP shots fired. All right, shots fired. We've been seeing TPP in the show matches, though, for the most part. At least in our region, right, Poro? So, I mean, they're kind of, feeling out the area. I feel like for our teams.
Going through that, continue like he said, I played in Starlighter where we had a show match of TPP each day, right? So we played 4 and we ended up winning one of them. And for us, it felt the same, like winning. Like it wasn't a big transition. It's just some fights you can't be aggressive, you can't push and stuff like that. But like the base core strategy is the same. It's just the micro play is different. You can't really push people in specific ways because they're watching you. But if you know the strategy, if you know macro play, like especially like for example on FaZe's level, they have the highest, in my opinion, like macro play level. Like they can transition easily into third person because it's just the same.
So a pro player, they should be able to do both, theoretically. I know we've been hearing that time and time again, but I mean, at this point, I mean, with enough practice, I want to say, and enough experience from a lot of the pros, and kind of, I mean, it sounds like Scoom is kind of mentioning that the pros are comfortable at this point with it, at least, right? So should this play a factor, though? I guess we'll get a vote, yes or no, throughout the panel. Yes, if you think this is going to play a factor in the tournament as far as hindering the team's performances, like one team will be stronger in TPP versus FPP, or no, that the teams probably won't even hesitate to perform. Crimson? Do you get my question?
Yeah, I get your question. Yeah, I mean, I think we will probably see a higher level of the Asian teams in the TPP tournament. So they're going to finish higher, I think, on average in the TPP tournament than the FPP tournament. Pora doesn't agree with me.
Oh, yes or no question, man. Yes or no question. Yes, okay. TPP versus and FPP is going to play a factor for the pro teams.
So, yeah, it will play a factor.
Okay, yes.
I guess is what I'm
Crimson.
saying.
Poro?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the Western teams will still, if it's FPP or TPP, they're still going to come out on top.
All right.
I mean, there's just nothing to leave it.
Scoom, what do you think?
I'm with both. I say yes, like with Crimson, but at the same time, I think Western teams are still going to be on top. But I think it will affect some teams. So, for example, in my opinion, like Navi and Avanga, who like more micro plays and like pushing and being aggressive, they're going to be hindered a lot in TPP because they won't be able to do that successfully.
Interesting.
Yeah, it does kind of limit that play style for sure.
Interesting. All right. I'm just trying to get you guys to fight. All right, moving on. This one. Give
it time, Dave. Give it time.
This one should cause some fights. Maybe not. at least I know for a fact, I have an opinion that you guys will probably hate. But the 20 teams. If I recall, the very start of the pro community, we had 18 teams, right? And then we bumped it down to 16. Scoom probably knows a little more than that.
20. We had 20 all the way up till December. 20? Yeah. We switched over to 18/16 in January, I believe.
And now we're going back to 20 from the official PUBG Corp rule set. So I guess, Scoom, this one's kind of for you to start it off here. What does this mean for the guys? I know, I'm pretty sure you're upset about this. I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm pretty sure you're upset about this.
Super upset because we've been working, at least the Western scene, we've been working for like the competitive settings, or like the best settings we can possibly have with what's given between like circle settings and like teams and stuff. And yeah, we started with 20 teams and TPP. So then we decided that when FPP came out, we thought that was going to be the better competitive settings. We went for FPP, 20 teams, and we still didn't really like it that much. We decided to have our own settings because we didn't like, at least most of the teams didn't like how the pace of the game was going with 20 teams. And it was, at the beginning, it was mainly because of the lag. That was like the main cause, right? The optimization was not there.
Yeah.
But also it was the balancing, how the looting around 20 teams and just the circle mid to late was just so chaotic that no team liked that. And it was 50% shrinks. It was just horrible for 20 teams. So we decided to have our own circle settings. We decided to go down to 16 teams. The servers was running better. The pacing of the game was better. Yeah, the early game was a bit less kills, but with 20 teams, you only got like maybe 2 or 3 kills more in the first 10 minutes, right? There was not much difference in that sense. But the mid to late game was just better. It was better pacing. So now the fact that we're going back to 20 teams is a bit like, screw you guys to the Western scene, in my opinion, from PUBG Corp. It's like, because we've been in talks with them. We've been asking for feedback all the time. We've been like telling them this and that. Like, it's not like we didn't have any talks with them and bam, you know, we have been trying to reach out to them. So the fact that they do this now is like a step backwards, in my opinion.
Okay, Poro, you know, you recently came off the coaching analytical side, so you got a feel for a lot of these guys' opinions out there at LAN, experience, and all that. I mean, what's the rumors going around? Like, are they upset about the 20 teams? Or
I mean, shit, they made this announcement 5 minutes ago. Give me time, man. Give me time.
I know you got rumors.
I got my finger on the pulse, you know. No, I mean, okay, if you look back, and I think Scoom described it really well. You look back to when we did make that switch over from 20 to 16, all the primary reasons for it, right? So biggest reason being the lag late game when you had 20 teams up in like the 3rd or 4th circle. It just created almost an unplayable environment, you know. And I guess you could say that maybe, okay, since we're playing on LAN, maybe that won't be as big of a deal. But I mean, from what I've heard, even at LAN, having 20 teams that late, it was still rough.
Yeah,
and I mean,
lagging, so.
Yeah, so I mean we'll probably see the same thing this time unless they do some kind of major server overhaul. But you know, the thing that I worry about with the 20 team thing,
what do you worry about?
It is one of the biggest complaints that people had about the 20 teams, and one of the biggest reasons they wanted to move it down to 16 was that it was making transitions almost RNG. You know, you would try to transition through where you thought was safe, and there was just so many teams there, and then the lag was bad enough to where you would just get you know, caught out, even if you went somewhere that made sense, right? Even if you took a route that was the safest. And think about that now, but add on top of that the hard shifting circles that I know we have seen lately. I don't care if they say that they don't exist according to their stats. They've been there. These hard shifting circles going all the way one side to an edge. Now imagine 20 teams trying to transition in that. I mean, it is going to be an absolute disaster, and there's nothing really you can do to plan around that. You know, everybody says, you know, oh, you know, you can strategize around, you know, trying to move. I mean, unless your strategy is to go out into the blue and then try to come back in at a place where you just hope that maybe there will be nobody there. I don't think there's really much planning you can do around some of these, especially when you get down to the 4th circle. And it's just I feel like a lot of teams are going to end up going out that wouldn't have gone out had it been 16 teams.
So you're saying if they do implement the armored UASs, those won't come into play for the event?
Maybe they should, yeah.
Maybe. Crimson, anything you want to add to this little thought with the team situation?
I mean, we were sort of talking about it before we came on. You can go and sort of watch this in terms of watching the PSS, the Korean where they play with 24 teams, you can go and see this kind of chaos that people are talking about. And there is certainly plenty of that. You can see the screenshots, even if you don't want to go and watch the games, there's some times where there is just too many people in one place to make it, it's hard to spectate. That's the other element, not just playing the game, but spectating. You're never going to be able to catch every single fight. You're never going to be able to catch every transition, every, rotation. There's a lot that's going to be missed, and that's obviously bad for a spectator sport at the same time. So it's really odd to me. Like, I don't know who PUBG Corp are talking to if they're not talking to the competitive scene, I can't imagine that the Asian teams are that pro that they would fight that hard to say, screw the Western side. We want 20 teams. We want 24 teams.
Well, I mean, it's not like that would be helpful to them either. I mean, outside of like maybe, more teams going out early.
Yeah.
I mean, is it more exciting from a viewer's perspective? I mean, the chaos, obviously a pro player out there in the field, transitioning is going to be a pain in the butt. But they also, in that short snippet that we had from Polygon, I believe, it made mention of a server-side replay system coming into play, maybe some more stability. I mean, I feel like they're trying to set this up as a viewership's perspective, to be entertaining. I don't know, just an idea. I know the pros, they don't like it. They don't like to hear that either.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they wouldn't be doing this if it was going to be a complete lag fest and unplayable. Like, this is their big thing. They must know that they have the technology available, whether it's their own private servers, LAN settings, or this kind of, put a server per player or some crazy stuff to, give them some performance. They must know that they can't do it if the spectator cam can't even function properly, which is what we've seen in really laggy, servers. So they must know that it's doable. I just don't know why they haven't shown us that, at least. Or
I mean, they're saving it for themselves.
They're
saving it for themselves.
I guess.
I mean, it makes sense as a company. They're going to come out with a bang and a whole spectacle. So moving on, we're at the halfway point here. Moving on, let's go to a very controversial topic, and it's always controversial as far as these LANs go, these tournaments go. Qualifiers, all right, qualifying. We have very limited information, but it's supposed to be a worldwide type of deal, right? So, Scoom, from your knowledge, you got the inside scoop, man. You got the inside scoop. How's it going to work, man? How's the qualifiers going to work? Or how do you predict? How about that one? How do you predict the qualifiers? How do you predict that they're going to work, man?
We know the seeds is going to be, we saw that it was free EU, free NA, right? So we can only talk about the seeds for EU and NA. I mean, free 20 team lobbies and only free qualify. I don't know. Knowing PUBG Corp, I bet they're going to do like a best of 6, free Erangel, free Miramar or something. Free TPP or
we don't
free
think
FPP,
Savage.
I don't know.
We don't think Savage is going to be around.
Savage is
who knows, man?
I have a feeling it's going to be 1, a shit show, and 2, just random as heck. I don't think they're going to do. It's going to be a world champion, like a world event with $2 million. You would expect them to have. If they're going to have an open qualifier, is to have not the big names. I mean, like a fair qualification in terms of a lot of games. I hope they don't do like best of 3. Maybe they do best of 3. It's PUBG. You never know what they're going to do.
Yeah, you know.
So I really don't know. I don't want to know what to expect. I hope it's going to be fair. I hope it's going to be a lot of games, especially if it's going to be 20 teams, because 20 teams is random. I think not even 8 games is going to be enough. I feel like you need like 20 plus if you want to do
per region.
Yeah, per region.
All right.
So, but I don't know.
I mean, and to be fair, like we don't know for sure though. It is open qualifiers, just to put that there. Like they've said, there's qualifiers. They could be closed qualifiers. They might get some invites going. That I really hope.
I would imagine closed. Right? Just to get all those teams a chance, those big orgs a chance to actually make it to the main event.
And I mean, when you look at any qualifier for any event, it's like 15,000 teams from EU and like 100 from NA, and like maybe like 40 from any other region. So yeah, I mean, it kind of, in a way, it does kind of screw EU, just because of the fact that they have 3 qualifier spots and they have so many teams fighting for them that But at the end of the day, I still think that the teams that end up making it are going to have earned their way to get there. It's just the kind of you feel bad because you feel some teams that don't make it probably wouldn't have earned their
which is going to be a majority of the teams, right? I mean, just because there's only 2 spots.
I mean, if you're an EU team, you should just up and move to the Middle East, North Africa right now.
Right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they're planning that. Wouldn't be surprised.
Like then you're in
liquid Oceania.
Yeah.
The only the only thing with the regions that I saw is that EU has 3 and CIS has 2. I think they should have merged and have 5 for EU and CIS. I think that would have been even more fair, because I think the CIS is kind of a big region right now. They're growing with, you know, Na'Vi and Avanga doing really well recently, but I think they're the only 2 teams in Russia, in my opinion, like in the CIS region right now that I've seen. Like there's a lot of like CIS teams playing open qualifiers and stuff, and they're the only 2 teams that are kind of showing themselves. There's no third CIS team right now.
I feel like they're
Vegas Squadron.
Yeah, Vegas Squadron's not there.
Well, I mean, hey, you got to go off of what we saw at land. Vegas Squadron.
I don't think they're there. Like, I don't think they're the elite level. Like, the others are elite level, and I feel like there's more elite teams in the EU West compared to CIS. And I think it's just giving them 2 is a bit too much, in my opinion, just because of the scene. Even though those 2 teams are really good.
It's basically like just giving invites, right? Invite to Na'Vi and Avangar.
Yeah, pretty much.
I wouldn't mind
that then, I guess.
They deserve
it.
It just depends how many qualifying rounds they end up doing. That's the thing, you know. If there's just a best of 3, then they may, you know, Na'Vi.
Yeah. I mean, they could. Then maybe they would make it. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, how do you guys think that the Asian scene is going to impact this for us, at least here on this current desk? I mean, we got the EU guys, we got the NA guys. We're always against each other, all right? At the end of the day, NA, you know, spamming the flags. I'm looking at you, Scoom.
Yeah, NA doesn't do that.
How is this Asia scene going to affect it? Should we really be teaming up here and joining forces to kind of go against these third-person lovers or what?
You're gonna get banned, yeah.
Starting a world war over here.
You're starting a world war. Yeah. Let's team up. No, but seriously, how is it going to come into play? I mean, we saw, what was it? What was that event that we had a couple of Asian teams there? It was recent.
There's a few.
Yeah. But they don't really show up. They don't really show up.
PGL had some, yeah.
Well, I mean, Pete, look, in fairness, at PGLs, they actually started. CJ Antis Ace was actually starting to play a lot better. MVP was playing a lot better. I mean, they're still not to the level of consistency that you know the Western teams are, but they have shown signs of that brilliance. So it's really kind of, I mean, Japan is also kind of Japan, but as far as right now, I mean, the Korean teams are definitely stepping up. The Chinese teams, I think, it should be. Wow, that was a really loud train horn. Does anybody else hear that? Okay, never mind. All right, so no, but yeah, the Koreans. I think the Korean teams. It should be interesting to see how they do. I think that they're going to be playing a lot better. This is going to be since PGL really that, you know, going from PGL to this event at the end of July, since they played really against any North American or EU teams, with the exception of, I don't know if they're going to do another invite for the PSS thing that they're doing like they did last time, but. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect.
What about you, Scoom? I mean, you've been out there in the field. Do they come out here with different strategies or whatnot
in the field
and just totally scare you guys and surprise you, or is it just another day at work?
Just another day at work. I played against them in Starlight, and I've watched obviously Katowice and PGL. And they always seem to start really slow. Like they always struggle at the very beginning, but the second half, like on the last day, they tend to like catch up a lot. Like they kind of like settled into FPP or whatever. So I feel like they're going to be strong eventually. I just don't think they're ready yet. But I feel like with their work ethic, it's going to be there in my opinion. Like they had shown a brilliance of like they were really good shooters. They just need to get used to like when to push and stuff like that. And that's just getting used to first person in my opinion.
All right, Crimson, you're over there. You're hanging out. You're hanging out.
Just following on that, like one thing that surprises me is the just the short time between the announcement and the actual event.
You think it's short? July 25th?
Well,
2 months.
Yeah, I mean,
2 months.
It's only 2 months. Yeah, I mean,
you got the hype. You don't want to die out.
Yeah, that's very true. But I feel like you don't give the teams who have that work ethic the time to kind of put in the practice and put in the play as much as maybe they could do to pull themselves up to the level. Like if they now know there's this £2 million event going on, all the orgs are going to get involved. Now this is a big deal. It's
a lot of
confirmed a big deal. You know, it's not just probably a big deal. This is like you've got to get involved.
This is the deal.
Yeah. So now you got to get involved. Now you got to work hard. Now you got to put that Asian work ethic in there. I think probably in 2 months you're not going to be able to get up to the kind of level that you probably need to be be winning the whole tournament, right? I think maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months. I mean, I don't know, I can't put a number on it, but the longer there was between it being obvious that this is something that they really need to put effort into now, I think that would have probably pushed them up the standings.
I mean,
more than this.
I feel like they kind of at this point they know that they have to work on FPP if they want to compete internationally, because that's just kind of the way the rest of the Western
you could flip that around.
Yeah, you can flip it
around, and the Western teams don't work.
I mean, well, why would we? We haven't had a reason to until now. But I'm sure you'll see more teams starting to kind of like play a little bit more TPP. Honestly, probably not.
Shaking his head no.
Probably not. I would like to see them try to practice a little bit more TPP, but they won't. Because I mean, like you said, the transition from FPP to TPP is way easier. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a hot drop GG. Like one day they'll do TPPs and nobody will sign up, and then we'll just kind of know from there. Like it's just not happening. So
all right. So one more question that I was kind of wondering. So we are going to finally have the official PUBG Corp. PGI is what they're calling it. Sounds like something that your doctor would tell you you got. You got PGI. But okay, this opens up a whole new discussion. If this is a successful event, which I'm pretty sure, $2 million, is PUBG
define success?
Just a bunch of people watching, bunch of people talking about it, having a good old time. Is PUBG Corp, are they going to make their own league, possibly? I mean, Scoom, any leaks there, man? Any leaks? Leaks?
No leaks. I'm nothing. I kind of hope so, to be honest. I see PUBG go in the route of similar to League of Legends, and not so much franchising of Overwatch, like locking things. I feel like, I mean, NALCS is franchising a league, EU is not yet, but I see it like the old school league where you have like a league structure, like in normal sports, like in soccer and stuff, where you go up and down in leagues and then the top 3 qualify to the Worlds after the whole split. I think PUBG is that, because PUBG needs a lot of games to be consistent, to be shown this full skill, right? Like, I don't think it should go on this like CSGO route that we're doing right now, even though it's kind of like cool and with a lot of games, it's kind of fine. But I feel like it was just tournament to tournament is going to be too random, especially if they want to go 20 teams. If they want to go 20 teams, you're going to need a long league structure to prove who is doing well, the best, in my opinion. Yeah. And I like that system. I personally like, because then the viewers are more hooked to the team. They know that every week they're going to see the same teams. Right now, for example, we were not in PGL, but we were in StarLadder. Our fans are not seeing us. I feel like it should be more locked throughout the whole season. A spring split and a summer split like League does, and have a in-between like world finals with international teams.
Poro?
I agree.
That's it. Okay.
I mean, it's like,
it sounds good. Sounds good.
I mean, it does. I like the idea of doing, and it can't be. I know this is going to be throwing a little salt out there, but it can't be worse of a spectator experience than that H1Z1.
I had to borrow my grandma's account to watch that. All right, chill out.
No, on the Facebook, but I mean that was. I feel like if PUBG Core really wanted to do something like that, they could do it, and it would be a better viewing experience. I feel like we've got enough work into the spectating. We've got enough crews out there from different, tournament organizers that we could put something together that's really special and really good. It's just and maybe this is the first step. Maybe this is the first step of them really actually getting involved in the esports scene and saying, like, we want to get involved in how the rules are made. And maybe it's not going to be what we like to see, but at least it's something. It's something it's something that shows that they're interested in the long-term kind of development of the game as an esport. And hopefully they take a little bit more of feedback from players and TOs into account as they go forward. Or at least have a little bit more two-way communication about the whole process instead of just coming out and saying, like, 20 teams, deal with it,
Crimson?
Yeah. I mean, I think in terms of the topic of kind of doing leagues, I think that's 100% has to be the way to do it, because, I mean, I've always been against open qualifiers for the same sort of reasons as Scoom is saying. Sometimes you get teams in there, sometimes you don't, sometimes people pull it out, sometimes they don't. And at the moment, at least, I find the scene you know, it's harder to follow than a lot of other esports, because one day this team is really good and they get into the LAN, and the next day they don't turn up and you don't see them again, and it's not good for the spectators, you know. So I definitely think like a lot of games, a lot of leagues over time, all that kind of system, the LCS system will be perfect. I agree with that. Like, yeah, I'm just interested to see how they do. At least they put their money where them.
Yeah.
As well.
I mean,
they're not getting involved.
Yeah, I could see them doing something like saying, okay, GLL, you're now the official EU tournament. Yeah. You know, PUBG Online or Awesome, NA. You are now the official NA, and now, you know, we work through our whole seasons and then come together for the world event where they, instead of doing open qualifiers or invites, they just take the top teams from each of those, or I guess in OGN as well, or OGN or Africa, you know, but that would require them to actually like get in behind something and support it, and, you know, set this structure up, which they've been kind of tiptoeing around and not really, I mean, yes, not outwardly saying stuff, but some TOs are getting stuff that other TOs don't. So they're kind of slightly getting behind certain people. But,
why are you looking at Scoom when you're saying that? Why are you looking at Scoom?
Was I? I didn't know that. Scoom doesn't know about that. I was just looking at my screen.
All right. So we're getting to the end there. We're getting to the end here. So we all like the idea that PUBG Corp might make their own league. We actually kind of want it. We want it. We all want it, because it's just going to provide more organization for the game and hopefully growth. All three of you guys dislike the 20 teams aspect. I'm going to have to go and say I like it, just for argument's sake. Scoom, please don't message me later on Twitter saying with the pitchforks. You guys, all three of you guys do not like, or you don't mind the TPP, FPP. I think Scoom, you don't like it. You don't like it, right? Crimson, you don't like it? The TPP and FPP?
I don't mind it, but personally, I've watched TPP games and they're just not as good.
Okay.
I'll come out and say I love TPP.
I mean, I still play it. I still play TPP.
That is my go-to game mode. I love if I'm doing like try hard or whatever, fine, I'll do FPP.
Yeah, FPP.
TPP is where I actually have fun playing this game.
Do some crazy stuff.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But at the end of the day, all four of us, all right, I'm just going to go on a limb here and say we love $2 million. So regardless of what happens and what they make the players do, what they make the viewers watch, $2 million is the best, all right? I'll buy a yacht with that. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Scoom, let the people of the PUBcast, let them know where they can find you, my man.
They can find me up here at Twitter, Liquid Scoom, for some complaints, rants, all that stuff, you know, to find me.
Hot EU opinions.
Yeah, hot EU opinions. All right. I'm the only guy normally that does opinions, at least negative.
I don't know. Fausto is giving you a run for your money.
It's me and Fausto pretty much, though. I need to be more positive, to be honest. It's only mainly negative, but it's just because I'm really passionate about PUBG.
Nothing's wrong with that, man.
I'm just really passionate. I want the best for it. I want the best for the players. Some people think it's only for me. Like, I've been in the past, like, for example, the back in the days when it was EU versus NA on Miramar. I actually voted for Miramar just to be on NA side. Like, I excluded myself to be included for NA, you know?
Thanks. Thanks.
I just want the best for
players. Good looking out.
So
I salute you.
Thank you.
I'm always giving out my opinion, and hopefully...
You heard it here first. Scoom's going to be the next pro to come over to NA.
Yeah, he's pretty much on our side now. He's on the NA show. I know we got Crimson over there. Come on, Crimson. Yeah, beard. It looks NA to me. Where can they find you, Poro, if you're not at a LAN or at a fancy mansion?
Shoot.
Where can they find you?
They can find me at Porosaurus_NA, or they can find me PUBG Online, casting random things. They can find me in the club. I don't know where they can they find me wherever they find you, Dave.
All right, and Crimson.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same. Twitter is pretty much, that's where I am. I mean, I'm around PUBG Online. That's where most people find me. Send me DMs.
You're also on Reddit. You're on Reddit.
Complaints.
Reddit,
yeah, competitive Reddit. Get on that. Yeah,
get on that, guys.
PUBG. Yeah, that subreddit needs
Get
some more people.
on that. Crimson is one of the main men over there. So if you got any questions or comments for him, make sure you talk to. He's a mod. I'm okay to say that, right? It's not a secret.
It's not a secret.
Not a secret.
My name's on the page, I think.
It's on the page. It's on the page. No secret. Start posting your links. Start doing whatever you got to do.
Yeah, get over there. Yeah,
Get over there. But this has been episode number 4 of the PUBcast. We're over here partnered with WaWa's Bootcamp. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And if you guys leave some comments below, maybe let us know what's going on. Let us know feedback, or if you want to have us discuss something else, we might bring Scoom back. We might bring him back. It depends. He's a busy man. Busy man. He's going to try to make it to the PGI. My doctor just told me I got PGI. All right, well, we got to go. See you guys later. This is another episode of the PUBcast.
Bring back Savage.